Yes. Yes. Yep. 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 Oh, yeah. Yep. Yep. But I mean, it's clear we have to make that home. If she, she said, she kept saying, well, it's coming with me. And I'm like, what do you mean by what? She said, well, what my mom is. And I said, okay. She said, she can't drive. But you can't stand it. Like it's just, okay. I'm just going to try to agree with everything she says. Even if I'm right. But sometimes it is not to figure out how to say it. She has an infection in one of her eyes and she's dealt with it. And then I want to say, remember last time? And I'm like, no, like, and I say, well, I think it's that eye drops. She's only 69. So she's got a lot of pride. She just doesn't want part of which the brain can't fix it. She's just confused, but it's it's tricky stuff. And now I feel like I'll understand her better. I couldn't do anything. I didn't accomplish any of the tasks. Yeah. I couldn't get the plates apart. Yeah. Yeah, it's another. Yeah. I couldn't. And it's funny. So it is like following his mother. Yeah. Another reason my mom is actually watch kids stuff because she can understand it better.
Is everybody? Okay, my name is Trish, and I work at the East Central Regional Development Commission in Mora. And I'm going to be speaking on online timesheets. Can I have could you raise your hands if at this time you do not use online timesheets? There's a few of you. Okay. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about Clockwise is what we've used. It's been in business since 2002. And I'm going to tell you what it is it's an online timesheet where employees go on and clock their time by element number. And I know this might be getting into the weeds. And then it's transferred into the payroll accounting system. And there are pros and cons to this system. The first one that I talked to Matt about this morning is entering the employee number and the element. If that's not done correctly, it's not going to work correctly. But the pro to it is that the technical support for Clockwise is superb. It's wonderful, and if you ever have any questions, concerns, you can call them and you'll get a real person right away, which is great. And then another pro to having Clockwise is it has multiple reports that you can print out by employee, time period, program element number, whatever you want. And then there's a place with forms for expense vouchers or W-4s, personnel policies, anything that you want, you can upload to that site, and the employee can log on and fill it out and submit it. And then we have online pay stubs that employees can log on to Clockwise, and the pay stubs are there automatically, and which is great, because then we don't have to print them out for people. And I do have a handout, if anybody wants a handout about Clockwise. I know that there's other multiple programs out there that you can use, but we use Clockwise, and multiple RDCs use Clockwise. Who uses Clockwise here? So yeah, there's quite a few. And so it is a really good program. And we use GMS, but there are multiple programs that they work back and forth with. And I talked to them before speaking here, and they said that they would work with anybody to get them enrolled. And it's $5 per active user per month. And if you have more than, they didn't give me a specific number, but if there's quite a few people, active users, it's a cheaper rate. And if you pay by the year, you get a 10% discount. So if you have any other questions about Clockwise, just feel free to come and talk to me about it. And I do have a handout if anybody would like one. Thank you.
Alrighty, my name is Melissa Strike. I'm the Communications Coordinator for the Upper Minnesota Valley Regional Development Commission. Our office is out of Appleton. The technology platform that I want to share with you guys today is called Adobe Spark. You all have a handout. It's this kind of yellow page handout if you kind of want to follow along with me. So what is Adobe Spark? It's an integrated suite of media creation application that's designed specifically for the web, your smartphone, or the tablet. What you can do with it is you can share ideas and tell stories very quickly throughout a page post, a post, or a video. So I'm going to show you an example here. So this is an example of the page platform that we put together for the city of Granite Falls. So all you do is, don't have my mouse with me, so here we go. All you do is you just scroll on through, and it looks great on like your tablet or your smartphone or anything, but all you do is scroll through, and it's just a nice way to be able to tell a story or share an idea quickly. You can add photos, you can add videos, you can add obviously text, hyperlinks, PDFs, other types of documents, and videos. So again, it's just kind of a nice way to showcase a project that you're working on, as long as just telling a story. Sorry, I'm probably making you all sick. Here we added a link over to our visitors guides, and then down below there's also a video that we've incorporated. So that's an example of the page. There's also different things you can do as a post. So I'm constantly, as a communications coordinator, I'm constantly on Facebook, constantly creating flyers, different documents to get information out. And this is an example of a post. So this is a business kind of spotlight that we throw together. As you can see on the right-hand side, it's so easy to use, you guys. All you got to do is throw in a photo, throw in your text, and it'll generate kind of the template for you. So on the right-hand side, you see there's different variations of templates that you can put together, the design. Maybe I did that. So the colors, you can customize the color just for your organization. So again, the consistency of everything going out is the same. Different layouts, it automatically has different sizes in there. So whether you're going to be posting on the web, if you're going to be doing a video, Instagram, it automatically generates those sizes for you. So that's an example of a post. So what does it cost? Everybody's most famous question, right? There's a starter plan. So the starter plan is free. And then there's the full version of Adobe Spark. And that actually is included if you have the Adobe Suite that's included, and that's about $79 a month, but the suite includes, I think it's like 40 or 50 different types of platforms. You can do the standalone pricing, and that's $9.99 a month. But the biggest difference between the starter plan, that is free, or the full version is branding. So with the branding, you can incorporate your own logo and your own color palette within each post that you share. And if you were just in a branding session, you would realize how important it is to brand and make your information that you're getting out there consistent.
Good morning. I'll be really brief because Melissa and I kind of decided to co-present a couple of different technology options for you. There's a handout that was provided to you for ArcGIS Collector. ArcGIS Collector is a GIS application. So for those of you that use GIS in your offices, basically GIS is mapping software. A lot of RDCs use it in the office for a lot of different mapping applications. ArcGIS Collector is actually an application that allows you to mobile enable GIS, either on any handheld device, a phone or a iPad. And the application that we use it for is, historically we've done housing surveys for a lot of our communities. And we have in the past called them windshield surveys, and a windshield survey kind of has a connotation that it's low-tech, feet on the street out there looking at housing inventory and determining status so that community can have good information about their housing stock. That information often gets used for things like small cities applications for target areas for rehab. The way that we used it was to mobile enable housing survey data. So we deployed the parcel data for a community that we wanted to do a survey for, and we published that data with some appended fields for information about survey. So was the house well maintained, dilapidated, things like that. You could append photos, and all of that would automatically get linked to the map for that site. So if you were holding the handheld device out in the field, you could see where you were. You could see the parcel boundaries for all of the houses. So if you're standing in front of a house, you can see the parcel boundaries. You click on that. It shows you where you can put in your summary information, and then that's automatically mapped back to your office software application. The cost of it is, ArcGIS Collector is actually a free application that you can download from the either the Android store or the iStore, or on your handheld device or your phone. In order to use it, however, you have to have a ArcGIS Online account, and usually that comes with your licensure for your desktop software in your office. However, it depends on how your licensure is set up as to whether or not there's a cost associated with that ArcGIS Online account. So basically, the application itself is free, but you might need that in-person cost if you don't already have an ArcGIS Online account associated with your software licensure.
Hi, I'm Amanda Russell, and I'm with the Northwest Regional Development Commission. That's within the northwestern part of the state. And today I'm going to talk to you about ReadyTech, our IT support services that we use. And kind of how this came about is over the last few years, we've had a significant growth in our staff, as well as the technologies they utilize have changed, so we've needed to adapt with those changes. And like most places, we don't have a full-time IT person or IT staff. So what happens when these technologies don't want to work correctly? Or the IT person that does assist with this is out of town or out of the office, or working on another program. We have ReadyTech to help us out. So it's an IT help button with just the push of a button. They have a full-time staff available at 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. It's unlimited usage for one price, so we have a staff of 35, so they are allowed to use this service, push that button however many times a month during this 8 to 5, and it's one price. Callback times vary, could be a few minutes depending on how busy they are. They issue up to 2 hours. But even 2 hours, when you're looking at the IT person being gone, and you have phone staff that need their services, computers working, 2 hours is a lot better than 8. And then they offer after-hour support on nights and weekends at additional cost. It's super simple to use. So if you look up on the corner, we call it the big red IT button in our office. On your desktop, you'll see the IT button. You just click on it, and then it'll give you several options. You can take a screenshot if you're getting error messages. You can call for support. It'll give you the number to call. So we've had staff that have had to use it when they're logged out of their computer or their computers are wanting to start up correctly or freezing. They're able to call in. You can email your request, and then you kind of wait for them to call back, and they'll kind of walk you through how to fix those situations, such as it can be something as small as my computer's running slow to programs not running. So and then I left their contact information if you have any more questions or want to listen to it. Thanks.
Good morning. My name is Jay Trusty. I'm the Executive Director of the Southwest Regional Development Commission, and we cover the 9 counties in the far southwest corner bordering both South Dakota and Iowa. When this session came up, one of my staff said, well, we don't use technology. So I thought for a minute, and I thought, you know, the thing is we're all jaded about our technology. We don't even think about all the stuff that works in the background. We just expect to be there. And so when I tried to come up with what is the one thing that's working in the background all the time, you'll have a handout, most of you have a handout on GFI Archiver, and it's boring technology. The one thing it does is its job. And its job is to put every email contact that you do internally, externally, everything that comes in or out into an archive that's searchable. So you can search by date, you can search by any of the other criteria. And the thing is that we can define what our search criteria is. We can also define how long we keep the emails. For those of you who are in records retention, this is an important thing to know. You have a records retention schedule. You need to know how many emails on a certain subject. If you get sued, you're required to provide public information. The Dental Practices Act requires us as governmental agencies to keep a lot of information. We can keep it here. You don't have to have it in your inbox. We personally, at our agency, we keep stuff for 5 years. And so, but we can define that, and we can have our IT people put it in as long as we want. If you want it 3 years, you want 7 years, you want certain things. So I use it occasionally. It's great for if you get somebody who leaves and they, oh, wow, you don't need my emails, and they take everything out of their inbox, and then you're like, well, you know, 2 years ago, I talked to this person. I got 55 seconds left. Yeah, and nobody remembers what they talked about. So you can go back and say, oh yeah, here's the email string from this person, and you can just search for that. And so for me, as an executive director, it's a valuable tool for kind of managing some of the in-house data storage needs without having to gunk up, basically, everybody's inboxes with things. So I got 22 seconds left now. That's basically it. So it costs $31 per mailbox, and then there's a 20% annual cost for maintenance. So it's relatively inexpensive as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake. Not all technology is boring. Some of it's actually really exciting. So exciting that they changed my name on the handout to Sean Basecamp. I'm actually known as Sean Schlusser. And so with that, I'm here to tell you a little bit about Basecamp. Basecamp is a collaboration app that works on your desktop, your mobile phone. It's web-based, it works on Apple. It costs $99 a month to have. It allows you to create and manage unlimited number of projects. It allows you to use an unlimited number of members on your team, and it allows you to bring in outside members who are not within your Outlook address list, who are an outside contractor. You can bring them into just that project. And to tell you a little more about that, I'm going to let the gentleman who works for Basecamp have that discussion with you.
This is a quick demonstration of Basecamp. Now, if you're interested in Basecamp, you're probably starting to notice that managing your business just with email chain.
We're all relieved that sometimes technology doesn't work out.
At Basecamp, you're probably starting to notice that managing your business just with email chains and file attachments and meetings isn't good enough anymore. Things start to get chaotic and slip through the cracks, and you need some kind of a system to stay on top of everything. And that's what Basecamp is. It's one organized place for your projects, teams, and company-wide communication. Now let me show you how it works. This is a marketing project we're doing right now. Everybody who's involved with the project sees the same thing here. We use the message board to post updates and gather feedback on work that we're doing. This is so much better than messy email chains because you can see the whole story from top to bottom. All the responses are on the record, and it's easy to get back to it. In the to-do section, I can assign work and see what's done and what's not done without having to remind people and nag them for status all the time. The schedule shows important dates and deadlines, and the docs and files is a place for images, assets, and files that we want everyone to be able to find easily. Finally, the campfire is a simple chat room. I use it if I have a question for the group and I'm not quite sure who to ask. This is just one project out of many, each with a different set of people, all organized and running at the same time. In addition to projects, we also have our teams in Basecamp. Customer service, marketing, operations, they all use the same set of tools to coordinate. Finally, we have a place for things that everybody in the whole company needs to see. We call it the HQ. My favorite feature here is the automatic check-ins. This automatically asks a question at the end of the day, like, what did you work on today? People answer when they have time, and their answers bubble up to everybody else. This way, everybody knows what everybody else in the company is doing without wasting time on boring status meetings. From the whole company to teams to individual projects, Basecamp organizes everything in one place so you can stay on top of it.
Probably the biggest thing that we found with using Basecamp, and one of the things that we found most effective, was if you struggle from employee turnover, where folks are going on to other opportunities to be successful, you suddenly lost track of what they were responsible for doing, or where they fell into a certain project. You can go into Basecamp, find their assigned list of tasks, and reassign those tasks onto the folks that remain on your team. It allows executive directors the opportunity to come in with a 25,000 foot look and see what's going on the project. It also allows you to hold everything in one place so you don't have to search through your emails for it. Again, Basecamp is, the first 30 days are free. It's $99 a month. And if you'd like more information about it, please let me know. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Kyle Maple. I'm a community regional development, or community regional planner for Minnesota Development Commission. I've been at Minnesota just over a year, and I'm going to present QGIS, which is a free open source cross-platform desktop GIS application that supports viewing, editing, and analysis of geospatial data. People that don't know what GIS is, a geographic information system is designed to capture, store, analyze, manage, and present spatial and geographic data. So when I came to Minnesota over a year ago, I had prior training in GIS, specifically with ArcGIS. So we wanted to utilize my skills, and so we wanted to decide if we wanted to pay for the license for ArcGIS, which is pretty spendy, or go to something else, which we chose to do this free GIS software, which is QGIS. So this presentation is aimed at development commissions that don't have a GIS software, someone who wants to learn GIS without the contract fee of ArcGIS, a development commission that has ArcGIS but feels like they aren't using the advanced tool set that only is available with ArcMap. I'm going to be honest that ArcMap is a more complete package with more apps and extras, but if you just need a GIS software that does zoning maps, land use maps, maps for comprehensive plans, QGIS might be an option for you. So this is a map that I made for the city of Spicer, which is a city in our region. I'll just briefly go over how I made it. I digitized and drew the shapes using imagery and PlatMap. Then once you have all the shapes drawn, it automatically goes to an attribute table, to where you can edit each shape and categorize it into what land use or zoning that parcel is. So for example, agriculture, central business. And then you can go into symbology and then categorize each color associated to each category. So it gets all the different colors and things like that. You can also do some other edits in symbology as well to make it more customized. With that, then your map is made, and then you go into layout view, which gives you 11 by 17, and so you can scale your map onto the page, which you're looking at right now, and you can add all the extras. Imagery is all the text boxes, north arrow, scale bar, and you put your legend in layout manager as well. Things that I found with QGIS is that editing and creating new parcels was easier compared to ArcGIS. I feel like the navigation in the app was actually easier than ArcGIS, but that's someone that's coming with training from ArcGIS. Someone that doesn't have GIS training, I can't really speak for that because I had prior knowledge. I also found that the online forums and tutorials are pretty comprehensive. There's a lot of people writing articles and answering questions online, so if you're stuck or need a question, you can just type your question into Google and you'll most likely get your answer. And then if the QGIS doesn't have a function or tool that you want, you can type it into Google and most likely someone would already programmed it with Python. So they'll just give you the code to copy and paste into a window into QGIS, and it'll most likely pop up with the tool that you don't have on the application already. So yeah, that kind of covers my brief presentation on QGIS.
Is it Q?
Yep, Q.
GIS.
Yep, QGIS, just the 4 letters there. Any other questions real quick? Or I guess you can say until the end, I don't know what the format is. All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Nicole McKinnon with HRDC, and hopefully you have a handout on Pinpoint. It's our document management system that we've been using in our office for several months now. When I started a couple of years ago, one of the first things I noticed is that we had a lot of paper. And we're not necessarily trying to go paper-free, but we're just trying to get more organized and make it so that we can find what we're looking for quickly. And that was something that was kind of a challenge for a while, was things would be not filed properly maybe, or missing. So we found Pinpoint, and now what we're doing is getting everything we have scanned so that we can find things when we need them. One thing that Pinpoint has is automatic filing, which has been something that we're kind of testing right now. The theory is that you can take a stack of papers, put them in your scanner, and the ARI system will know what it is, recognize it, and file it where it needs to go. We're kind of testing that right now with invoices. We're not necessarily using that, but it is something they have. And just the file organization has been huge. So far I've been using it for a lot of my accounting functions. If I just type in a cash receipt number or journal voucher number, all the documentation for that will just instantly pop up. I'm not digging in file cabinets or boxes or having to do much work there. You get to decide how many users you want, who has access rights to what information. So not everybody can see all of the information that's in there. You can use it when you're working remotely. So you don't have to be sitting right next to your file cabinet to find the information you need. Collaboration, we have some PDF editable documents in there where we can work on documents together. It'll show all the different revisions and who made them. And the biggest thing that's been helpful in our office is the workflow. We have a new accounts payable system where everything is electronic. We used to pass around giant folders full of invoices and the coding would get done, and then whoever's cutting the checks would then get the folder and they'd be paid that way. Now the invoice is scanned into the system, and then it gets sent to the next person in line who codes the invoice, and then that invoice gets sent to the next person in line who approves it, and then after the invoice is approved, the person cutting the checks gets it. So everything's constantly moving through the workflow to get the accounts payable done. It's also helped with our credit cards. That's the newest thing that we've implemented. We'll have hundreds of charges on credit cards for all of our employees, and trying to track down all those receipts and get everything coded has been kind of a nightmare and kind of gets put off a little bit. So now everybody, as soon as they have a charge, they upload their credit card receipt. They can put the coding on there if they know it. If they don't, it can get coded by the next person in line. And then I can just run a quick report for the month of the statement, and hopefully all the invoices get pulled in, and we can pay the bill a lot quicker, easier that way. I have some pricing on here, but it kind of depends on what you need in your office. The staff at Pinpoint are really easy to work with, and they'll set you up how you need to be.
Good morning, I'm Angela Anderson, and I'm the Marketing Director at Region 5 Development Commission, and you're in our region today, so we're glad to have you here. I have something to share, which is just a tool that we recently used to help us explain a program. It's the Welcoming Communities Initiative that we're doing, and I'm doing good at this, okay. It's a little bit hard to explain, and so we decided to create an animation, and it's kind of like a cartooning thing, to help us explain what this program is. And it's about cultural agility and trying to attract a qualified workforce. So I'd like to show you the video. It's not very long. Hopefully this works.
People want to live, work, and raise their children in communities that are welcoming to all. But no group, area, or industry is immune to economic and social challenges. The Region 5 Development Commission's Welcoming Communities program seeks to address these and other community needs. This initiative is designed to enhance workforce attraction and help communities be competitive. With a commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, the Welcoming Communities program promotes economic and social prosperity for everyone. Community-led advocacy groups, with Region 5 Development Commission assistance, help communities bridge intercultural differences while building on the community's assets. Each group defines and leads a project with financial investments from R5DC funding partners. Do you have a project idea that showcases your central Minnesota welcoming community? R5DC invites you to share your thoughts, get involved, or reach out to learn more.
At a commission meeting, I actually had this play, and then some weird motorcycle video came up with some interesting people, so I'm glad that here. So basically, it just kind of helps us explain that program in a good way, an easy way, and a consistent message. We have 3 people on our staff who completed an intercultural development inventory. They're certified to give that training, so we have, like, I think about 15 community or organizations in our community that have completed it. And we completed it ourselves. Has anyone else done the IPA? Is that okay? So that's all. I just wanted to share that, and then I would give a plug to the base camp situation. So Levitate is the company that we went through to do this, and they used base camp as they were doing the project with us, and it was so slick, like amazing. They would post the first kind of storyboards, and then we all got to kind of chime in and say what we needed to say and make comments right in the project, and then it was just very smooth. So I would highly recommend that as a tool as well for anyone who needs that type of program. That's it. I think I was the last one.
What's Central? Oh, Bell. Okay. Okay, questions or other sharing? We are ahead of schedule, so anybody else in the room want to share some technology tools or apps or things they're looking for? Learn from one another. That's what we're here for.
I have a question about Base Camp. The regional transportation coordination councils are looking at a place where we can all have a forum and, you know, share documents and everything else. It sounds like this would be perfect, but I'm wondering if there's 8 organizations that are doing this, do we each have to pay that fee, or can one take charge and everybody else get invited in, or?
One takes charge, everyone else is invited in. So for instance, Minnesota Department of Health has base camp, and so they've invited me at Region 9 to be part of their base camp, and then we have our own base camp, and we invite in our outside contractors, so that would be perfect use of that. One of the things that I really like is in the document and files section. It holds the versions, so you're always looking at the latest version, and the older revisions are still viewable if you want them. It allows for archiving. When a project is complete, it's still there, but it's out of view. And it also allows you to build a template. For instance, when I did my first Safe Routes to School program, I went in and built a template because it's very rigid. And so built a template for it, and then when we received our next contract for Safe Routes to School, I just copied it over, entered in the new dates, assigned the tasks, and away we go.
Where the hell were you when we started planning this thing 6 months?
Yeah, it would have been really great. Even in all the to-dos, you can put the deliverable. For instance, we've got our lunch meal selected, attached, you know, the to-do was select the lunch meal, and then you can attach the menu, click done. Everyone gets a daily email push. That's the thing, the other thing I didn't share was, it informs you that things have been completed through an email. So you get an email from Base Camp that says, here are the things that were done today. Here are the things that were done this week. And you can select how often and when you get disturbed. Like, no, whatever it is happening on Base Camp, it can wait until 8 in the morning instead of coming to me at 6, right? And so you select all that. So everyone has the opportunity to view it. All the documents are there, whatever you'd like to share. It's a wonderful program. We used it. I was a congressional staff member previously, and when we shut down our congressional office, we had 3 offices, one in DC, one in Rochester, one in Mankato, and each office had about 100 tasks that had to be completed before January the 2nd without going over. And that included turning in all the furniture, all the computers, every laptop had to be wiped, all the individual policy pieces had to be in place. It was a must-do, and it worked very, very well. And so when I came to Region 9 and found that the individual I was replacing, okay, so I'm stepping into his project, great, what's he done? Well, we don't really know. Okay, well that's, and after the first week, it was like, man, you guys could really benefit from Basecamp. So we did the 30-day trial. The 30-day trial is the full package. There's no limitations on it. Anyone can make adjustments to Basecamp. Anyone can add a list. Anyone can delete a list. All of that's in there as to who did it. The only thing that's restricted is if you make a comment, and that comment may not be as filtered as you would like, you're the only one who can edit or delete that comment. No one else can. So all comments remain because they're all important as to how decisions were made as you go through. So I'm a big fan of Basecamp.
Could use that dollar.
Google's free, man. Other questions or examples? Again, I appreciated whoever Jay said. You know, people say, we don't use technology in our office. We all use technology every day. So other examples or questions for our panelists or from one another?
I have another question on the Adobe Spark. How often do you, we saw Granite Falls, have you done something like that for 5, 6 communities, 20 communities?
Yes. With our Prairie Waters, our regional marketing program, we've highlighted each community. So we were able to, I can actually maybe show you an example here quick. We've done it for each of our city and county members. So what kind of brought us to this is I found the application, and the big thing was for a lot of our smaller communities, a lot of them don't have nice visuals, or they're not telling their stories on their, City of Appleton website. It's, you go there, you pay your water bill, they maybe give you a brief information of news, but they don't have, might not have, beautiful photos, but they don't have the staff capacity to go out and take all these new photos. So this is kind of a nice way for us to give back to the community, and we're encouraging our cities to embed this onto their home pages or wherever on their websites. So that's kind of what all started us to create these. But here's kind of an example of how it can be embedded onto a website. So we did create it for all of our cities, along with our counties as well. So, and you can do it, this is just an example of kind of a tourism or a highlight of a community or county, but you can also use the program to create, kind of showcase a project that you've worked on, kind of telling the story that way as well. And the post platform, I use that all the time, whether it's on social media, whether I'm just, you can also, one thing to note is they have free photos on here. So they have a ton of different free photos. I'll just do puppy. That pops up. And there's a ton of photos that you can use. Because, if you do just go to Google and type in puppy, download that photo, you can be accused of copyright. So with us having kind of the full version, it allows us to be able to utilize these photos as well. So, any other questions on Spark while I'm up here?
Is there a mobile application in Spark?
Absolutely, yep. And with the video platform, we haven't really dove into that yet, but you can also do quick videos. Again, super simple. You can throw in photos, you can do text, you can do it all on your smartphone or your tablet.
So I'm curious, in your office, are you mostly just doing that, or do you have the economic developer do Al's Mercantile? How does that all work in your office?
We've collected the data, and then generally I plug it in, but it's so simple that anybody in our office could do that. So again, you just throw in a photo, it automatically generates everything for you, which is great. So it gives you, you don't have to have a creative eye to do this. It gives you templates. You throw in 3 photos, you throw in your text, and it'll give you a whole list of different kind of layouts and templates that you can use. So it does it for you generally. So, anything else? It's pretty cool. I highly recommend it. We use it a ton in our office.
anybody searching for a technology solution that they want to ask? I'm curious about the document pinpoint, document management system, and actually an integration between that, to some degree, Jay's backup, email backup, and even Basecamp, thinking about managing all of the electronic breadcrumbs we create. Has anybody compared, has anybody really used SharePoint that does a lot of those same things, just in another platform? That's what everybody uses, SharePoint. And do you use the collaboration tools in SharePoint and archiving in SharePoint?
No, we use, basically, they just utilize the very basics of it, where they keep their documents there and then they access it.
Just for your file sharing?
Yeah. No, it could be a lot of, yeah, the same, yes.
We do have the option of that team, but we have not really used that. That's similar to.
Yeah, great.
So we not utilize that. We just kind of got started on that.
Kyle, we use your GIS, have you used that for making like windshield maps or, I don't know if you guys use small city experience.
No, I haven't. I've only done the basic stuff with zoning maps, land use maps, but I'm sure it can be done. I know you could put addresses in, do that kind of stuff, and heat maps and things like that. I just haven't gotten into it, but I know it is possible with QGIS.
Does it bulk upload addresses?
Oh, yeah.
So-
If I could just make a comment on GIS, that's all, and I appreciate Kyle's comments too. I'm a big believer in that you should kind of know what the issues you might face are. And as Kyle mentioned, ArcGIS, it's a great application, but it's expensive software to have. And there were some limitations that we found when we started to utilize mobile applications to do some things outside the office. For example, the license that we had for the software only allowed one person at a time to be able to do that. So you couldn't deploy multiple users out in the field doing one of these windshield surveys with mobile devices with the software licensure that we had. We could upgrade, but there was a significant cost associated with that. So you kind of need to think about that in terms of if you're going to implement something like that. And it's kind of the same issue between if you're going to go with something like QGIS or ArcGIS. Different applications, different cost associated with each.
Any other questions? Yes.
We have a shared file, so the great thing is everything is shared, it's dumped in there. The bad thing is everything's shared and dumped in there, and it's kind of what makes sense to me. Where to put something might not make sense for someone else. Has anyone come up with a good solution, naming protocols, filing protocols, or software that makes it easier to find the things, or is this just a shared problem for all?
We're in the middle of it right now. We've been spending probably the last year. We've had a shared file server for 20 years. And we're in the process right now of trying to organize it better. I would love to know if anybody has really developed and then actually consistently used file naming protocol. Consistently. Yeah. We've attempted it many times over the years, and I think it is just your point. What you would call something, I may call something different. I think about a really simple example, and this happened years ago. We were going to, I think we have an agency vehicle, we were going to trade in our agency vehicle, we had an extra spare set of keys, right? So they were in somewhere. Now this is a
it applies electronically too, so bear with me. So where are those extra car keys filed? I mean, are they under, they're hard copy, right? So I mean, it's in a drawer somewhere. It's in a file. Is it called cars? Is it called Dodge Caravan? Is it called agency vehicle? Is it called keys? Is it, you know, all those things are relevant, but whoever filed it thought about it and named it that file. So that's consistent with electronic files too. And so we're struggling with that right now. We have just, like I said, we've spent a year really reorganizing our whole file server. It's been painful. Ask anybody on our team. We're about to have a big unveiling next Monday. So we'll see how that goes. But if anybody else wants to, you know, I would love to share ideas with anybody else who is dealing with this dilemma right now.
With Pinpoint, you can use contact search, which we kind of put things where we think they need to go. It might not be what everyone would decide they need to go, but we can use the contact search. So there's been times where I've been off on a financial report by a certain dollar amount, and I'll just put that dollar amount in to see if anything comes up, and sometimes it does, and it just pulls that number off the file. Like I said, journal voucher numbers, or a house file, I can just put some name in, or an address, or anything like that. So for us, it doesn't really matter that much how things are filed, because we can find them in the files.
And we've been assured we'll be able to do that with SharePoint yet, but it has to be tested.
Well, you can actually sort of in SharePoint, you can put a name in it, and it will pull up every document that has a dimension, so you may get more information.
And our staff are used to using File Explorer to do a similar thing, you know, so again, it's just using a different, looking at it in a different way. But any other questions? Well, if not, we are ahead of schedule, 10 minutes. We do have, look at the agenda, we have a lunch, kind of a buffet should be set up out here, and then you can get your lunch and come back in this room. We will have a dementia brief for those people who did the dementia tour. They're going to talk a little bit about that as we eat our lunch. And then starting at 1:30, we'll have a general session about health and wellness. And just a little heads up, Partnership for Health is going to be our speaker. They're going to talk a little bit about office wellness. But then we're going to be asking all agencies to share some examples of what they might have done for some things for wellness. So if you have somebody designated to share in your office, make sure they know that. If they don't, designate somebody to share. So we're ahead of schedule. Go have your lunch and take a break.
Pick one. Before they pick you. Yeah, extra.
My computer is
Yes, I would. Yeah.